Hi, Lynn Barrette here, licensed clinical therapist and spiritual counselor, and I'd like to talk to you today about generating motivation to reach your goals. I'm creating this video mid-January, so it's definitely goal-setting season. And what I've learned over the years in working with people in my practice and workshops and classes that I do with myself in my own life is that motivation doesn't just show up. It's not just there all the time. And when it's not there, it doesn't mean that we can't reach our goals. Motivation is something that we have to generate ourselves. A few years ago, I came up with a graphic that kind of shows the process that we go through internally and externally while we're trying to meet a goal that has been really helpful to people. Because when we know the process that's happening, we can kind of cooperate with it a little bit better and all the bumps in the road that come up. So I'm going to show this to you here, but I'm also going to post a link for it in the description of the video, so you can print it out or just take a closer look at it if you'd like to. It's called Process for Taking a Spiritual Step, but you can use any kind of goal that you have and plug it into this process, and it's going to be the same. So the steps are, the first thing we do is we make a commitment to our goal. We define it and we commit to it. And in that step, that's oh my gosh, I'm so excited about doing this new thing, right? So there's a lot of energy, there's a lot of excitement around our goal, and in step one. Step two is that resistance that comes up no matter what. Anytime we're making a change, anytime we're committing to something that's different than our automatic, everyday kind of stuff, that resistance is going to come up. And I'll talk a little bit more about that as we go. Then the third step is strengthening. We're strengthening the new behavior. We're weakening the old behavior, kind of starving that old behavior out. Then we triumph. We have reached our goal. It's become part of who we are. We own it, right? And through that, we get a new outlook, new insights, new understandings, new perspective of ourselves, of that area of our life where that goal was set and achieved, and then we start over with a new commitment for the next thing that we want to change, right? So let's talk about that resistance step a little bit more. So we've made our commitment. We've had 3 weeks of excitement about it, and then the first day of that fourth week, we're not so excited. The novelty has worn off. We're just not feeling it like we did when we first committed to it. I'm sure you can relate to this. Everybody has experienced this in some way, shape, or form with their goals, right? Because some goals are very easy for us to achieve and accomplish, and other goals are a lot harder. So let's say, for example, I am setting a goal for myself. I'm a pretty healthy eater, but let's say my goal for this year is to eat healthier. So that's my goal. I'm really excited about it. January 1st, I get up, I'm so excited about it. For 3 weeks, I'm eating my vegetables, I'm eating my fruit, I'm making smoothies, I'm grilling vegetables, I'm enjoying the new behaviors, right? But after about 3 weeks, it's not so fun anymore. It's not new, it's not exciting, but I haven't totally reached my goal yet, because then I am thinking about cheesecake, which I don't even like, but let's say I'm thinking about cheesecake, and it's like, oh boy, that sounds exciting now. Now I want to go on to the new thing. So what happens when we get to that point where we're not so excited about it anymore is we have hit the wall. I call it the wall of status quo, right? We are status quo beings. Our bodies biologically are status quo to keep our organs running properly, to keep them in the right ranges of what they need to in order to work properly for us. But our minds and our emotions are also very status quo. And when we are on automatic, when we're not really conscious of what's going on inside of our thought processes, and then we just go to our automatic behaviors, because our behaviors come from our thinking, right? So if we're not aware of what we're thinking, we're just on automatic, and that's our status quo. And that status quo behavior, that status quo thinking, has come from lots of little choices we've made up until this point. So If my eating habits have been poor, then that's my status quo, because that's what I've been putting into my body. That's what my automatic eating habits have been. So if I'm not aware of what I'm doing, if I'm not paying attention to what I'm doing, then I'm just going to eat like I always ate. So if I have this goal of eating differently, eventually I come up to that wall when that new exciting energy wears off of the goal. I come up to that wall that just says, this isn't fun. This is hard. This is a lot of work. I've been trying this for 10 years. Why do I think I'm going to be able to accomplish this now? And we hit that wall of resistance, but the resistance is just that status quo. It's like, well, this is different than what I've been doing, and now it's not as easy. And we human beings, we like easy. So when it's not as easy, we start talking ourselves out of it, and that's where the work begins. The work doesn't begin once we make the commitment. It kind of does, but the work really begins. The strengthening part of the work comes when that resistance comes up, because we have to be aware. We have to go, okay, there's my wall of resistance. What does my wall of resistance say? Okay, it's telling me, why bother? It's telling me, I don't wanna. It's telling me, gosh, this really isn't, I'm not really meant to do this. Or, that if it's hard, I shouldn't, maybe it's not the right thing for me to do. And we just start talking ourselves out of moving forward with our goal. So that's where we need to be aware. Okay, I'm hitting my wall of resistance. Okay, what does it say? Oh, thank you for sharing, wall of resistance, telling me that, why should I bother doing this? I hear you. I understand you want me to go to the old behavior. I get it. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to refocus myself on my new behavior. And we have to do that again and again and again and again, because we're taking our old behavior, our old actions out of that old status quo, and we're moving it into the new status quo, the new behavior that we want to make part of who we are. And we have to do that over and over and over again, because we're going to get pulled toward that status quo because it's easy. And if we're not paying attention, we're going to automatically go back to that old thought form, that old status quo. And we want to remind ourselves, nope, I'm making a new status quo. I know this is hard. Come on, baby, you can do it. Just put yourself back on that road towards your goal. Those small choices every day, every moment of the day, that are going to carry you forward into that achievement of your goal, of your new behaviors that you want to create for yourself. And then doing that, eventually, this is just a law of energy, right? If we're taking energy from one place and putting it into another, the place where that old energy was going is going to fade away because nothing's feeding it anymore. So you're feeding that new behavior, and eventually the old behavior fades. You'll remember that it was there. Oh yeah, I used to eat cheesecake all the time, but I don't do that anymore. I don't even have any desire for cheesecake anymore, because I am fully planted in my new outlook now. And it was there, but that's not who I am anymore. And that's how we achieve those goals. We use that talk, we use that awareness to keep ourselves focused, remembering that resistance is part of the process. There's no avoiding that resistance, but we can see it. We can see it, we can understand it, we can get that that's part of the process without letting it take control of the process, and maintaining that control through our awareness and those small choices that we're making that are helping us build that new status quo. Take down the bricks of the old status quo and build the new status quo. So anyway, I will place this process in the comments, and I would love to hear what you do to motivate yourself. And just let me know. Thanks for watching, and Happy New Year.